The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shalom, 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 brothers and sisters. You can hit the like button. I won't be here long, but hit the like button. Come on.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel.
Shalom.
721 BC.
721 BC. That's history. Look it up.
Syrian king. He took us down, we fell.
With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates.
The Lord held the water still.
To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel, that's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the house of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel.
From Panama.
Yeah, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint to gather our wives and children, then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A higher gather us.
Oh, Reuben from Australia. Issachar, the Mexicans. A highest gathering Israel. The Negroes. Benjamin, the West Indians. Levi, the Haitians.
Our highest gathering Israel. Oh. That's right, brothers and sisters. The Most High's gathering Israel. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church. And yes, we're here for another weekly Patreon update. A lot of brothers and sisters don't know, and I'm going to say it straight out. Rawchaa. All right. I came in years ago, the early 90s. Israeli School of UPK. We were dealing in the music and producing and all these things. And there was a brother, I'll always love this brother, by the name of Rawchaa. Rawchaa, one of my original teachers back in the 90s. And one day he was sitting down and seeing how we do the music and all these. Before I actually understood what any of this Israelite stuff was, okay, as far as understand that I was an Israelite. He was in the studio. He seen how out of nowhere the Most High bring a song, and I can hear it. I can hear a certain tone, and I can hear a song after hearing a few bars of music. And he said, "You know who you are?" I'm like, "Yeah, my name is Richard." He says, "You know what? But your gift, your name should be Rawchaa." I'm like, Rawchaa, what is that? He says, Rawchaa is spirit, and shayar is songs. He says you can naturally do music. You can do songs out of nowhere. It's a gift. And in the Bible, names had meanings. So usually Jacob would be Yaquab, right? Because the Most High named him as a Yaquab because he would need to supplant Esau to get the birthright and blessing. So going forward, I understood why he named me Rawchaa, spirit of songs. And, so when people see me sing and things coming on and all that, and I'm into the music, it has nothing to do with my position that I was called to as elder, which I didn't choose it also. It have everything to do with, it's a separate component. It's a separate part of my life that has always existed, a gift that Most High have given me. But I didn't think it was the irony of it all. All praises be to the Most High. It comes around full circle, seeing how when you look in the book of Psalms, most people don't know the Psalms were songs that were written, that David wrote, all right, in praise of the Most High, inspired through the Holy Spirit to actually teach precept through song. And here's the irony of it all. My name is Richard Shepherd. My first name starts with an R. My second name starts with an S. And out of nowhere, I grew to understand I was Israel, and one of my first teachers named me Rawchaa. Ara, Rawchaa, S, Shayar. So that's the irony of it. I didn't name myself, and it was through the Spirit that who could have known? And I'll probably find out once this is all over, sitting in the kingdom with my family, my father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The names that we take on out of nowhere. I need y'all to really think about this. Listen to me clearly. Is that name written in the heavens? Are we sent with the name and find the name later? Did life move me into who I was or who I was named before birth? But that's a whole nother understanding, right? But I thank the Most High I'm here. So for those who don't realize and understand why sometimes I get into the music before I go into these broadcasts, I hope some of that testimony or insight gives you understanding. All right. I've always loved music. All right. And music led me to where I am. The Most High guided me through the music business, coming up early, signed Alpha International. Then I was signed to another singles deal once me and my brothers broke up. And I'll tell you this. It was the music business that happened in New York at the Hit Factory where Rawchaa, Rawchaa, and others who I was producing with found Israeli school of UPK at that time. Came back to Philadelphia and said, Rawchaa, Richard at that time. They used to call me Richard or June. I think there's something you need to see. I think we are the I think we are the Israelites in the Bible. It was a music trip that happened with I would say, the circle of my music friends that led us to come together and see what was going on here in Philadelphia. And that's when I found out that I was an Israelite. And here we go. Here we are. Regardless of the ups, downs, whether or not I believe that the doctrine that we originally taught was the truth and all of that, that's of no consequence. I can understand how the Holy Spirit can guide one to do their purpose according to God, regardless of organization. And this is why, even though I don't subscribe to that doctrine, understanding what it is, you'll never hear me wholesale get online and trash those who taught me or say anything negative about the men who instilled their work in me, which led to where the Most High progressed this current work. Because the reality is, and I need y'all to hear this clearly, all of those experiences were necessary. Every experience that leads us to the truth of Christ and understanding our purpose is necessary. And one thing I hate more so than anything, when people are scorned and feel a certain type of way, and they'll go back and begin to trash those who sown something into them. It's disrespect. It's disrespect. And it's outright evil. It's outright evil to trash people who've sown something into you just because of a bad experience. It's wrong. It's wrong. Because at the end of the day, what we're saying is, it was all about us the whole time, to a degree where I can sit back and judge those who work to give me, to sow into me the understanding to be able at this time to critique. And this is what the Most High talks about. He talks about it in the heavens when he talks about despising authority. The despising of authority. Why can't I just take the good with the bad and thank the Most High for the good experiences in any relationship without being scorned and crapping on those who sown in them? This is why you'll never see me say anything wrong or anything publicly about Yohana, General Yohana of UPK, or the high priest, even though I don't subscribe to high priest. Christ is our high priest. REI. I was never up under Tazadaki or anything, so I can't say anything otherwise about him. But this is why you'll never hear me say anything negative about that experience, because what is that to say about where the Most High have taken this church? Right? Because my experience that led me here is intertwined with my humble beginnings. And I believe if it wasn't for that time, if it wasn't for the Israeli School of UPK, I wouldn't be here doing this. Okay? So I want to put that out there real quick, just to set the tone. And it's about respect. And I would say the same thing when it comes to Christians who may have left the Christian church. Just because you understand in hindsight that it's pagan, we must also respect the fact that this is where we learn Christ. And through Christ, that Holy Spirit that we learned through there, learning the Word of God, the King James Version Bible, led us to understanding the truth that one realizes currently. Okay? It's called respect. I want to put that out there. So I wanted to put that out there for those who don't understand, because this is why I do the music. This is why I come in with the music, not just to set the tone, because it's a part of what the Most High created in me. And I would, and me myself, I love to share that amongst those who view or hear. So you can understand there's a different component outside of just teacher. David wasn't just king. He was singer. He was musician. All right. The same thing with many of those who in the Bible that you can look into. Okay. Music has a profound effect on the spirit. And this is why Lucifer have used the music business to guide the world into total debauchery, evil, understanding its power. Music is a serious component. And this is why the majority of the broadcast you'll see will introduce a lesson before the lesson with a song. Well, that's it about me going down memory lane for a moment. That's it for me. I'm Elder Rawchaa, the Gathering of Christ Church, here with our weekly Patreon, and we'll segue over in a moment. All right. Today, we have a very, very, very groundbreaking video review. And I titled this evening, Satan's Inoculations. Satan's Inoculations. And we'll be going into that on Patreon. Okay. We're going to go into it on Patreon with an interview from Mike Adams, who has a serious interview with a woman by the name of Sasha Latipova. She's an insider, a whistleblower. She's a whistleblower, an insider, and was an expert on the inside when the 2020 plague was rolled out. Okay? And we're going to talk about this because there's some groundbreaking information, brothers and sisters. Groundbreaking. I mean groundbreaking information that everyone must know. And it's well deeper than Pfizer, Moderna, and all these other things. And I'll discuss that on Patreon today. It's way more deeper, the details. And so I titled this Satan's Inoculations, and I'll be talking about this predominantly by not forming an opinion, but hearing what the experts, what they were thinking, how they rolled it out, and what was the initiative. And I'm going to view this video real time with brothers and sisters here on this platform today through Patreon, so that no one can claim that Elder Rawchaa, this is his opinion, I'm not alleging anything. Let's hear one of the whistleblowers who was on the other side giving their testimony now that they realize what all of this is. All right, so that's the most I can say about this particular broadcast on this particular platform. But I'm segueing over, and brothers and sisters, you do not want to miss this video. And the reason why it's important that you see it from the perspective of how we're breaking it down, one thing these whistleblowers, and even Mike Adams at this point, and I love Mike Adams. I believe that brother, he cares. He's a serious observer of times and understand what's going on from what you would call medical standpoint, a chemical standpoint. He's a chemist, but he cares. And I respect him for his sacrifice, bringing forth information that can help us. But the reason why it's important that you see it through our observations, like on Patreon, when we do a review like this, it's good to understand what God is saying outside of the surface science. And that's the perspective I bring to it, right? This is what God said according to the Most High. And we're going to show you how it's playing out in real time from a different perspective, people we've never met, to confirm the Bible is real. Okay? So through those observations is what makes these particular engagements like Patreon not only educational, but they're spiritual, but to some degree entertaining. See? Because entertainment isn't just someone dancing and singing. The engagement of seeing a production still falls in that realm. When it comes to science, discovery. All right. So to hear perspectives is all part of that genre also. And I hope that brothers and sisters can receive what we are about to drop in this viewing with Sasha Latipova, interviewed by Mike Adams. She's a whistleblower from the inside, and there's a lot about the pandemic that's now coming out, and we're going to discuss that over on Patreon. Before I go over, let me talk about real quick what's going on in Philadelphia. Now, if you want to go to Patreon, okay, Go to Patreon/agathering144. We really put the price for Patreon at almost its minimum, so it doesn't cost you anything at all outside of about $5 a month. But you get the content there that you could never receive on, it's things that we cannot say here. On top of that, that $5 goes a long way in helping support and helping the church, all right, on Patreon and others, helping the church prepare for what's coming down the line. We take that money, put it into something tangible that can help our people, knowing that eventually they're going to oust our people out of a lot of these scenarios, these cities. And we need to make provisions according to our God, regardless of what the Satanists are planning against us. So when you do these things, understand that money goes towards helping a great work for God's community, for a highest community. All right. Now, before I segue over, brothers and sisters, let me talk about what's going on in the city of brotherly love. The city I was raised in, Philadelphia. Even though I was born in Lake Charles, Louisiana, I was raised in Philadelphia. The Hill has a serious report of what's going on over there. How many times I was talking about the zombie apocalypse and how the satanic alleged governments of the earth is incentivizing the zombie apocalypse, right? Because zombies can operate, right? Under Satan's power. When someone hear the word zombie, they think of, what's going on? Night of the Living Dead, the zombie series that they have out there. I Was Bitten and all these other things. But there's a greater story to zombie than just what we see through Hollywood. Okay? Zombies, I believe, allegedly can be created through drugs. It's more so a state of mind where a person lose the autonomy over their minds and are controlled by an outer source, a demon. And through that, they become chaos on society. Right? They become consumers. It's all about everything that I want. I'm hell bent on the zombies go through and they bite people so that they can get some type of energy to preserve their selfish existence. Right? So what's going on in Philadelphia? Philadelphia zombie drug Trank already in New York City. Now, what is the zombie drug Trank, one might ask? Talking about it's already in New York City, as if these things aren't, they would have us believe that these things are happenstance, that out of nowhere, these drugs came out of nowhere, someone smuggled something into there, as if there isn't an orchestrated effort to create a zombie scenario amongst the city's population. Now, why would I say that, folks? Think about it. If they wanted to stop this, they could stop this. If they really wanted to stop drugs from coming into the neighborhoods, harming the cities, they have the power to do so. Number one is by making the penalty so stringent. Making the penalty so stringent, it would scare people off from actually doing things like this going forward. It's simple. If they said, listen, if you sell drugs or someone is found with drugs, life imprisonment. No questions asked. No 3 strikes. No, nothing. Life imprisonment without the option for parole. Period. If they cared about their children as such, they would make such legislation. right? So if they really wanted to stop this, they could by what? Pushing laws as a deterrent. This is what they want. So here's the reality. Story at a glance. I like to check in on the city of brotherly love. I was raised in Philadelphia, and I was there when they used the drug game, which was also, I believe, orchestrated to destroy any community that we had left in the earth. They decimated us. I remember on the block of 15th and Diamond, which I believe was the nucleus of all of that back then. I believe that growing up on the block of 15th and Diamond, the neighbors, we were so close. I thought growing up that I was related, physically related to the next door neighbors. That's how close community was before they sent in the drugs. I thought that the Damon families were my cousins. That's how close we were. If someone died on the block, the whole block mourned. It was if we lost a family member. And I believe they brought in the drugs and took that sense of family and community away from us. Let me go to this story before segueing over. Hit the like button, please. It is believed the idea to mix xylazine, known as trank, into the heroin and fentanyl supplies started in Puerto Rico before the animal sedative turned to Philadelphia. Xylazine is now in 90% of Philadelphia's drug supply. Check this out. Turning people into zombies, folks. And a federal law enforcement source told WPIX, it has also been detected in New York City drug stash houses. Xylazine is not listed as a controlled substance, but the Drug Enforcement Administration. Driving in Philadelphia's embattled Kensington neighborhood on Tuesday, I lived around there not too long ago in 2008, 2009. I had a house around there. There's a good side of Kensington and a very rough side of Kensington, all right? For those who don't know Philadelphia. It's not all like this, but there's a strip that makes the Taj Mahal, brothers and sisters. It makes the Taj Mahal look like Trump Plaza. When I say the Taj Mahal from New Jack City. Okay? Or was that in Jungle Fever? I don't know. It makes the drug thing, Taj Mahal, look like Trump Plaza. Okay? It says, let me go straight to it. Where did I leave off at? Yeah. It says here, the effects of xylazine, an animal tranquilizer that was turning fentanyl addicts into zombies. Now, I don't know, you may think it's a coincidence that out of nowhere, zombie production started popping up out of nowhere, right? Apocalypse, they had one Apocalypse movie, some Z movie, The Night of the Living Dead, and all these others, The Walking Dead. And now, after Hollywood introduced this concept into our society, now they're telling us exactly how they can do it through the drugs. A zombie mentality where people don't care, sucking off of society with no direction in life outside of sucking off of others, which is the zombie concept. To steal, kill, and do anything to get high. Zombie is really the zombie mentality. I seen that coming up during the so-called crack epidemic, as if black people created that. All right. As if it just organically showed up through Freeway Rick Ross, if you want to believe that. I've seen some of the most accomplished, productive people within our community in Philadelphia fall to almost nothing and would really and would compromise their morality and self-dignity to get high. Some of the most beautiful women that they knew they were beautiful and no one could even speak to them as such, giving themselves over to nothing for one hit off of crack rock. I witnessed this coming up in Philadelphia. But I didn't know how nefarious or how calculating it was at the time growing up there. WPIX saw a sea of people with leg wounds, swollen hands, and even missing limbs. Missing limbs, folks, along notorious Kensington Avenue. Next thing you know, you wake up with these big A explicit holes all over you, said Jeanette Freeze, 48, who gets help with wound care at the Prevention Point of Philadelphia. They just popped up anywhere. It's not necessarily where you shoot up. So what they're saying, because of this drug, folks, and I'm going to show you how I'm segueing into our Patreon today. Because of the drug, people are coming up with sores and all these other things unexplained. And the news is actually blaming this on the drug. Not to say the drug isn't doing this, right? But what in particular is this story covering up? Because they say that all of these weird sores and activity is going on through the drug, on the streets, through people on Kensington using illegal drugs. In particular, the drug xylazine. But folks, could this be a cover for something else? Is some of the side effects that we are seeing, brothers and sisters, out of nowhere for the first time since after 2020? Could it also be covering an adverse or side effect of something else, and they're using this particular drug and story to cover the real story? Could this story be a cover for the real story, while people were popping up with sores and all types of things, who never took illegal drugs, and are also exhibiting some of the same adverse effects or side effects? Could they be using this story to cover it up? The fact that there's many who chose to do what they were putting out there. Right? Could these people who listened to what they were saying, could they be exhibiting the same side effects as these zombies on Kensington? These people who are on drugs? Is it where the pharmaceutical apparatus meets the streets for the same outcome? That's all I can say right now. That's all I can say here. I think the Most High has given me eyes to see and ears to hear. I can tell you that. And there was a saying coming up during the Reagan administration, when Nancy Reagan had this slogan, this campaign, just say no. Right? Well, it's time that we begin to ascribe to that campaign today. I believe, according to our God, that the choice of the matter when it comes to any of this stuff, legal or illegal, myself personally, I just say no. No. And I believe those who don't understand where the apparatus, the corporate apparatus, meets the streets, There's a chance that something might happen to you. There's a chance that something ill might happen to you following the status quo. And that's all I can say here. The Bible says be sober-minded, which means we have to learn to live our lives and cope with what's going on without some level of pharmaceutical help. We need to deal with the reality, which is life, or be taken by the industrial complex. That's the most I can say. That's the most I can say before segueing over. It's 1:42. I'm going to open up the lines in a moment while we review. That's right, brothers and sisters. While we review a groundbreaking video from an insider concerning everything that happened after the election of 2019, how it was all rolled out, and the whole thing that would lead to the world shutting down. What was the true objective there? Who was really behind it? Folks, this is well deeper than any of you would ever realize. It's well deeper than the pharmaceuticals. And you'll see that on the other side of this program through Patreon. I cannot explain it on this particular platform. So I hope to see you over there. Patreon.com/agathering144. Everything is up. We have it up and running now. You don't want to miss this particular broadcast. And after that, in the midst of the broadcast, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to review the whole video. And then after reviewing the whole video, open up the lines. I'm going to do something special today. We're on Patreon. I'm going to open up Blog Talk Radio, and we're going to have conversations with phone calls in between us viewing this particular groundbreaking information that the world needs to see together. This is how groundbreaking this particular video I'm about to view should be. Folks, this is so groundbreaking, I believe there shouldn't be any other news right now outside of it. They just shut out all media together like they did in 2020 when they was pushing tests and everything. And I believe what this whistleblower has to say should be proclaimed throughout the whole earth at once so that we can understand the severity of what we're under and the severity that comes with the choices our people made under fear and ignorance. Okay, so I'm about to segue over, but before I do that, I'd like to make an announcement that the next Hebrew and Bible Academy starts March 12th, 2023. Please enroll. Go to historytimes.org. All lessons in this upcoming academy will have an overall theme centered around spiritual warfare. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. It's time that we go beyond just the precepts to show our brothers and sisters how to engage spiritually and use the Bible as a spiritual shield, a protection. Understanding how to wage spiritual warfare to protect us in these times will be the concept throughout the full 12 weeks. The creation of the universe, the state of the world before its physical and spiritual corruption will be week 1. The promised seed, we're going to update these particular lessons highlighting the Messiah who was born of the promised seed to destroy the works of darkness, and he was prophesied to do this before the earth existed. I'm going to prove that. There's a difference between astronomy and astrology. We're going to break that down. Astrology is low level. It came from the learnings through the tree of good and evil. We're going to go into the tree of good and evil and break down what exactly that is today. Okay, in these particular lessons, we're going to break it down. Christ was prophesied before the earth began in the heavenly tables. Astrology is a form of control over the world for those who subscribe to it. You're under a demon. You're under a demon. Okay. In a nutshell, I'm going to just put a little bit out there. The 12 horoscopes only represents the 12 portals between heaven and this realm. There's an angel over each portal. There's 12 of them. Satan was able to, under a low level with the tree of good and evil, to have people involuntarily worship these angels as gods to do what? So that they can actually get an insight on the psychological behavior from those who come through those portals each month. If you were born in 1 month, you come through one portal. If you're born in February or March, you come through another portal into your mother's womb before being born. And there are certain characteristics, okay, of that person. We weren't supposed to know about that. Because why? Satan and the witches and warlocks can use that, knowing your behavior. They can weaponize that by knowing you and manipulating you. We're supposed to organically find out about each other. You're not supposed to know someone's behavior so that you can manipulate or calculate on how to do what? How to get with a person or how to destroy a person. And I'm going to be talking about that. That's the difference between astronomy and astrology. Satan turned those 12 portals into the horoscopes so that scientists, witches and warlocks can know about someone's behavior to manipulate and control people. And I'm going to be talking about that. Okay, the promised seed, we're going to go into that, the works of darkness, the fall of Israel and Judah, updated lesson, the origin of Israel's kingship, Israel's fall to idolatry, witchcraft, and the works of darkness. Now, here's a brand new lesson never taught. For the first time, we'll do so in the academy. The battle against witches and warlocks. Folks, I'm going to tell you this. Witches and warlocks is what we see in the Capitol chambers within the White House. I'm going to drop that. I'm going to drop it all. And not just the White House. Every governmental construct has a similar makeup where there's witches and warlocks over the chambers. And I'm going to talk about that. The battle against witches and warlocks, brand new lesson, how ancient witchcraft has been modernized and used as a weapon in current times. Biblical principles on how to battle spiritually against spiritual wickedness in high places. We're going to also go into Yoruba and the whole African science that they claim that came from Africa, which is a lie. Straight lie. It didn't come from Africa. It's ancient Babylonian. And I'm going to prove that. And if Yoruba and the African witchcraft was so great and all powerful, why didn't that witchcraft help us to void off chattel slavery? How is it that the Western world, ruled by the white man, is kicking our butt, not just all throughout the earth, but in Africa? If not, unless they are following a higher level of craft. And this is what people don't want to deal with and understand. Obviously, Yoruba is high witchcraft and evil, but it pales in comparison to the white man's craft. See? And he can control you by following Yoruba and lower level witchcraft. Because why? Those spirits under those particular religions, that's right. These are spirits. Spirits, folks, under their incantations, which are lower spirits than those Satan have given the so-called white man or Edomites. The powers that Satan have given Rome. The demons and spirits in Yoruba have to subject themselves to those hierarchy demons and spirits. They're lesser spirits. So there's only one way to beat the Roman witchcraft. Christ. Not the Christian Christ, the Bible's Christ, where all spirits are subjected unto him. See? So we're going to identify Satan as the god of the so-called Europeans or Edomites. The only thing we use witchcraft for in our community is to destroy and manipulate one another. That's what the conscious community has become. It has no effect on moving the needle against white supremacy and or white oppression. The only time we use witchcraft and sorcery is to harm our own people. We're doing nothing against the ruling class or the satanic power structure under the Europeans or Roman Empire. Neither can we using a craft that's lesser than theirs. We always talk about the Haiti revolt and how they use witchcraft and try to fantasize and celebrate that. And Esau is looking at you like you're crazy. Oh, you thought Haiti won the war? Look at the condition of Haiti. See, there's many levels of warfare. See? Look at the condition of Haiti and then tell me Haiti won the war. Those spirits are still subjected to higher demons, which and the highest spirits are within the Vatican. Haiti cannot spiritually war against the Roman Empire or the top sorcerer on earth, who is the Pope. That's all I'm going to say right now. We're going to go into biblical principles on how to battle spiritually against spiritual wickedness in high places. And the greatest weapon against all evil is truth. The greatest weapon against all evil. See, and this is why the papacy and nothing has nothing on us. Because we're not subjected to their evil ideology. And on top of that, we can expose their lies through truth by doing what? Highlighting the God they serve. That's the greatest weapon. But we're going to talk about that, how to spiritually war in the earth, and how you know that you're under some level of dark subjection without knowing. We're going to talk about that in the academy. The fall of Israel and Judah. The battle against witches and warlocks. How to identify a modern witch or warlock and what to do now that you've recognized their presence. Oh yeah, you don't want to miss that. The divide between man and woman, part 2 roundtable discussion, discussing the various levels of social engineering and propaganda that has been used to separate and destroy the oldest institution established by God, which is marriage and family. Now, we're going to do this as well as other updated lessons like exposing the mother of harlots, which is the Roman Empire. Folks, the Roman Empire, the Vatican isn't teaching they're not teaching Christianity at all. Their whole efforts from the beginning was to infiltrate Christianity, to push their satanic dark ideology of Mithraism, which came from ancient Canaan, from the Canaanites, as well as ancient Babylon. The Christian church, the Catholics have never taught Christianity. And another thing, the religion of Judaism, they have never taught the law. They have never upheld the law or taught the law. Both sides, Roman infiltrated both sides, knowing that our people would come to the knowledge that we are the Christians. We're the original people of the Bible, and we are the bearers of God's law. So they had to get in front of it by infiltrating it. Rome infiltrated both Christianity and the religion we call Judaism. And we're going to talk about the Harry Potter characters, the people that walk around looking like Harry Potter. We're going to talk about that. All right. Last but not least, there's a 10% discount, okay, to those who refer others to the academy or sponsor someone. We'll make sure we put a 10% discount to your account. The more you refer others into this to get this information, the less you'll even have to pay yourself. It's important that we get as many people in this academy as possible to drop what we need to drop, not realizing how long they're going to allow us on these platforms to do so. We're tearing down strongholds with this, and eventually they're going to attempt to stop it. So support this work, support the academy. Go to historytimes.org and enroll. And brothers and sisters, I hope to see you there. That's right, March 12th. Well, I don't know. I had a testimony today, a little rant. I don't want to digress into digression. So, brothers and sisters, first and foremost, you have a blessed Sabbath this evening. May the Most High be with you all. Stay prayed up, sin not. All right. I hope Elder Lawya is going to conduct the Sabbath for me tomorrow. I'm going to take a reprieve for a minute, and I'll be back next week. I will be back next week for you all. Okay. I have to take a break too. Okay. There's a lot going on in preparation for the Passover and others, and I really need time to regroup. All right. So, brothers and sisters, I love you. Thanks for all your support. Please support the class for the Sabbath tomorrow. And I hope to see your loyal Patreon members over on Patreon. All right. You don't want to miss.
Welcome, everyone. Mike Adams.
All right. You don't want to miss. You don't want to miss, brothers and sisters, this particular broadcast. And folks, I hope y'all are looking at the background and a lot of what you see here, because through your support in helping the Gathering of Christ Church, I'm going to take a lot of the resources the Most High that you have blessed us with, and we're going to do a brand new studio to present everything that we're bringing forth going forward. And I'm excited about that. All right. So continue to support, and you'll see what we do with these resources coming in, folks. You'll see. As you support, the more we put money into bringing forth the knowledge of the truth. As we've transitioned all of our social media platforms, it's time to go on a professional level, and make sure that we've fused all of our Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias into one-stop shopping. You go to gatheringchrist.org and you'll see it there. Knowing that the time is short, we have a short time to get to as many people as possible. So I can't stress this enough, folks. Continue supporting the work. You'll see your support on the other end. You'll see that we are doing right by everything you're doing to support this, to get to others before what? Before the next shutdown. Before they begin to blame something on Africa and claim something came out of Africa. Remember, I told you that. With that, I'm going to say shalom. See you over in Patreon, patreon.com/AGathering144. Stay prayed up, sin not. The Most High is calling back Israel. See you in a few days. Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Asha in Colombia, Ruben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, a valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, yeah, the North American Indians, Simeon.